Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Anime Octopus. Today, we're diving into an intriguing what-if scenario. What if Naruto's daughter, Naruko, became the 10 Tails Jinchūriki? Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer: the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion purposes. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let's get started. 1,000 years ago, a mysterious visitor from another world arrived on Earth, drawn by the legendary fruit of the God Tree. This visitor, known as Otsutsuki Kaguya, found herself welcomed by the people of a small village in the land of ancestors. As time passed, Kaguya became fascinated by humans, eager to learn about their capabilities and resilience. She was eventually brought before the village emperor, Tenji, who was equally curious about this extraordinary woman from another world. Kaguya revealed herself as the guardian of the God Tree, but Tenji struggled to believe her. Sensing the potential consequences of revealing such truths too soon, Kaguya gently altered Tenji's memory, choosing patience over confrontation. To remain close to the tree and understand its power, she assumed a role within the emperor's court. Over time, her bond with Tenji deepened, and she discovered a sense of happiness in her new life. However, challenges soon arose when neighboring lands grew curious about the woman from another world. To protect Kaguya and maintain harmony, Tenji established rules to prevent conflict. Despite these efforts, Kaguya and her loyal assistant Ino faced threats, forcing them into hiding. Ino, a devoted young attendant, guided Kaguya to safety, forming a deep friendship with her. Together, they discussed the God Tree, revered as the most sacred entity in their land. Its power was immense, and even the thought of touching it was enough to instill awe. Kaguya, naturally drawn to extraordinary forces, became increasingly intrigued by the tree's mysteries. During their journey, Ino courageously protected Kaguya, ensuring her safety. Kaguya, moved by her companion's selflessness, realized the value of trust and friendship in a world filled with uncertainty. In a pivotal moment, Kaguya consumed the fruit of the God Tree, unlocking immense power. The tree, awakened from its long slumber, shared its energy with her. With this newfound ability, Kaguya used a powerful illusion to bring peace to the lands, ensuring that humans could continue their lives safely while memories of conflict faded. Her wisdom and guidance earned her admiration, and she came to be revered as the Rabbit Goddess, a symbol of peace and hope. Kaguya later gave birth to twin children, Hagoromo and Homura, who would carry on her legacy. Over time, the immense power Kaguya had absorbed began to weigh upon her, creating challenges in balancing her responsibilities and trust in humanity. To ensure the safety of the world, she began creating guardians from her remaining power. Her children, Hagoromo and Homura, grew up learning the importance of compassion, responsibility, and protecting others. Hagoromo and Homura ultimately worked together to preserve their mother's legacy, carefully safeguarding the powerful forces she had unleashed. They divided the energy of the God Tree into 9 distinct guardian spirits, known as the tailed beasts, each with its unique abilities. These spirits were entrusted to capable individuals to maintain balance and prevent misuse of the power. Hagoromo, known as the Rikudo Sennin, dedicated himself to teaching humans the principles of Ninshu, guiding them to use energy wisely and harmoniously. He had 2 children, Endora and Ashura, who inherited different aspects of his abilities. While Endora sought leadership through strength, Ashura promoted collaboration and unity. Generations passed, and human clans developed under their guidance. Although occasional conflicts arose, the legacy of the tailed beasts and the teachings of the Rikudo Sennin ensured that power was managed responsibly. Many years later, in the village of Konoha, a day arrived that tested the villagers' courage. On the 10th of October, the appearance of a powerful 9-tailed fox outside the village created concern and excitement. The villagers, recalling the tales of Kaguya and the balance she had brought to the world, prepared themselves to face this challenge with courage, wisdom, and unity. No one knew exactly how it happened. It all unfolded in mere seconds when the enormous fox was suddenly released. Yet it wasn't without a host. The previous host of the Kyuubi, Uzumaki Kushina, lay resting in a hospital bed, having just given birth moments before. "Please, I want to hold my baby," Kushina exclaimed, reaching out toward the small red-haired infant cradled by the doctor. Without hesitation, the doctor carefully handed the newborn to Kushina, and her face lit up with a joyful smile as she held her child close. "Hello, my little Naruko," Kushina whispered softly, and the baby responded with a gentle coo. "It's all right, Mommy's here. I'll keep you safe, I promise," Kushina murmured, and the baby's soft sound seemed to echo reassurance back to her. Holding Naruko, Kushina felt a warmth of love that erased all previous hardships, even the memories of losing her clan in the past. Kushina, I know you want to continue holding your child, and you will, but we need to move carefully now, said Sarutobi Biwako, wife of the retired Sandaime Hokage. Reluctantly, Kushina handed Naruko back to the doctor, her heart tugging at the thought of being separated from her baby, even briefly. I understand. Just please make sure nothing happens to my child, she began, only to be gently interrupted by Biwako. Kushina rose from the bed as carefully as she could, changing into comfortable clothing for the journey ahead. She felt a quiet pride seeing that Naruko had inherited her own red hair, a small, tender connection to herself in the midst of the chaos surrounding them. Let's go quickly, Biwako urged, guiding Kushina toward the exit with the doctor holding Naruko. Outside the village, the scene was tumultuous. Shinobi from Konoha worked tirelessly to contain the immense fox, whose sheer size and power created widespread chaos. Hold on. The Hokage will arrive soon. Just keep the creature occupied. A jonin called out, though the struggle to hold it back was overwhelming. Skilled shinobi tried various techniques to deter the fox, but the creature's might made even the bravest efforts barely noticeable. Just when hope seemed distant, a massive puff of smoke appeared nearby. Emerging atop a gigantic toad was a man with yellow hair, Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage. Yondaime-sama. The remaining shinobi called, relief evident in their voices. A tense standoff formed between the fox and the enormous toad. Gamabunta, are you ready? Minato asked his summoned ally. How can anyone ever be fully ready against such a creature? The toad replied, though Minato's determined gaze and confident tone reassured him. I need your help to protect the village, and then I must ensure my family is safe. I don't yet know how the fox was released, but right now, our priority is the village, Minato instructed. Gamabunta grumbled but followed, ready to assist. Meanwhile, Kushina carefully navigated through the chaos with Biwako and the doctor, determined to keep Naruko safe. Their path was suddenly blocked by a mysterious figure wearing a black robe and an orange mask. Kushina's heart raced, but she quickly took a defensive stance, shielding her child. The masked figure moved swiftly, displaying skill that made Kushina realize she was facing a highly capable opponent. Who are you, and what do you want? Kushina asked, her voice firm yet filled with concern. The figure held Naruko calmly, prompting Kushina to summon her remaining strength. With determination overriding her fear, she leapt forward to protect her child. You're using a time-based technique. Kushina realized, recognizing the method instantly. Though fear lingered, her focus remained on her child. I will return your child soon, but I need them to serve as a temporary distraction. You may follow if you wish, the masked figure said, disappearing swiftly from one rooftop to another. Kushina chased after the figure as quickly as her weakened body allowed, ignoring the fatigue and the recent strain of childbirth. Despite the exhaustion, she refused to let Naruko out of her sight. Eventually, the pursuit led to a wide clearing. The figure paused, holding the sleeping Naruko, prompting Kushina to rush forward once more, driven by maternal resolve. Suddenly, the ground trembled. She turned to see her husband, Minato, atop Gamabunta, still engaged in battle with the fox. The sight was overwhelming, but her priority remained Naruko, who stirred softly in her arms. Shh, mommy is here. No need to worry, Kushina whispered, soothing her child. As Minato approached, surprised to find his family there, Kushina held Naruko securely, prepared to protect her at all costs. Minato's mind raced, understanding the danger and considering the only possible way to safeguard everyone. Kushina, could you reseal the fox if necessary? He asked, aware of the difficult choice before them. Kushina nodded, her resolve strengthened. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would protect Naruko and ensure the village's safety with unwavering courage. That all fell short when she shook her head before speaking. I can't, I'm sorry. My body is too fragile. If you reseal it into me again, I might not make it. It's already been removed from me, and I just gave birth. My body won't be able to handle it, she said softly. Their conversation, however, was interrupted by a sudden roar, causing them to turn toward the creature now facing them once more. The Kyuubi continued charging at them, more agitated than before. Fortunately, Minato used his Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique, to move himself and his family out of the creature's path. The speed caused the Kyuubi to overshoot them. With the brief moment of respite, Minato devised another plan, one more difficult than before. He glanced at his daughter and offered a brief smile at her vibrant hair, though he had hoped she might inherit his own hair color. Quickly, he tossed another of his special kunai in the opposite direction as the Kyuubi charged again, then used Hiraishin no Jutsu to reposition them. When he, Kushina, and Naruko reached the other side, the Kyuubi released a frustrated roar toward the sky. Minato was engaged in a careful game of evasion with the powerful creature, though he knew the strain of his jutsu would not allow him to continue much longer. Kushina, uncertain of what to do, held their child tightly as Minato continued to maneuver them out of harm's way. That was until he spoke, calling her attention. "We have only one other option," he said, glancing once more at their sleeping child. Kushina's eyes widened in shock. "No, you can't mean that. She is just a baby, Minato." She protested, though deep down she understood his reasoning. She could not bear for her daughter to endure the same challenges she had faced as a Jinchūriki. "I must, or else Konoha will be in danger," he replied, once more using his jutsu to dodge the creature's attacks. The Kyuubi, frustrated and restrained by the genjutsu and Minato's tactics, was growing more restless with each attempt to resist. Before the creature could strike again, Minato dashed forward and instructed Kushina to prepare the seal. Her eyes widened at his words. "You are risking so much using my clan's strongest sealing technique," she thought, yet she quickly began preparing. Minato had already gathered the necessary items, a decision Kushina reluctantly trusted. She knew the Kyuubi was formidable, and Minato's plan was precise. Kushina worked swiftly, arranging candles around Naruko, who slept peacefully on a small cushion. Beneath the cushion, she had inscribed a protective seal. Once everything was in place, she lit the candles. Turning back, she saw Minato still engaged with the Kyuubi, struggling but determined. Taking one last glance at her sleeping daughter, Kushina made her choice. She would assist her husband in securing the seal. Though she wished it could be avoided, she understood the stakes. Gathering all her remaining chakra, Kushina leapt toward the Kyuubi and formed a series of hand seals. Yellow chakra chains shot forth from her, ensnaring the creature. "Minato, I'll hold her. You complete the seal," she called, seeing he was too far away to hear her normally. Acknowledging her, Minato formed his own hand seals. Fuinjutsu, Shikifujin. Sealing Jutsu, Reaper Seal. As Minato finished, a towering figure appeared behind him, the Shinigami, ready to carry out the sealing. With careful precision, Minato directed the Shinigami toward the Kyuubi. Kushina's chakra chains restrained the creature, frustrating it further, but allowing the Shinigami to continue. Finally, the Shinigami found its target, Naruko, still peacefully sleeping amid the protective candles and seal. With the Kyuubi contained, the sealing was complete. Both Minato and Kushina, exhausted and weakened, crawled toward their daughter. "Naruko, I'm so sorry for everything," Kushina whispered, tears streaming. "I hope you can forgive us one day. Mommy loves you so very much, and your father and I will always watch over you." Minato spoke next, voice gentle but filled with love. "Naruko, this is your father. I hope you will forgive us. You are now the guardian of this village's safety in your own way. I know you will grow strong and make us proud." With that, the Shinigami took their souls, leaving their bodies peacefully behind. Kushina's eyes closed in rest, her last thoughts filled with wonder and trust in the future. A few moments later, Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared in the clearing, his face a mixture of sorrow and shock. Beside him was Kakashi, partially concealed by his mask. Both were moved by the scene before them. "Sensei!" Kakashi called softly as he approached the two, and Hiruzen followed. "Kakashi, take their bodies to the village. I'll care for Naruko," Hiruzen instructed. Kakashi nodded solemnly, lifting Minato and Kushina with care, and disappeared toward the village. Hiruzen, meanwhile, gently picked up Naruko, marveling at how peacefully she slept amidst the chaos. At the village gates, the remaining shinobi gathered. None spoke at first, respecting the gravity of the moment, until Kakashi, with quiet authority, addressed them. "I cannot explain everything," he said softly. "But know that our Yondaime Hokage gave his all to protect the village." With solemn respect, Mido Gai helped carry the bodies to the hospital. The village silently honored their fallen leaders, aware of the heroic sacrifice made to protect them. In the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen placed Naruko in a safe crib. Even among the tower's emergency rooms, this situation was extraordinary. The newborn now carried the Kyuubi within her. "Do not let anyone enter this room," Hiruzen commanded the Anbu guard. "Understood," they replied, taking their post. As Hiruzen departed, he could not help but wonder. Who could have caused this? And why? While the people of Konohagakure were still grappling with the presence of the Kyuubi, another extraordinary event was quietly unfolding. This event was entirely unexpected, occurring within the body of Uzumaki Naruko. No one knew of it, for nothing like this had ever happened before. When the Kyuubi was successfully sealed, a luminous energy began to radiate, not only from the Kyuubi herself but also from all the other bijou across the world. Each tailed beast awoke as their tails shimmered with light, even the Kyuubi, who had been dormant for so long. The mighty creature observed her glowing tails as if marveling at the light itself. So, this child, huh? This is truly unexpected, the Kyuubi thought, resting her head gently on her paws, anticipating the remarkable events yet to come. Meanwhile, within the walls of Sunagakure no Sato, a young girl with red hair lay asleep. She was a few years older than the newborn Naruko. What made her extraordinary was that she, too, had a bijou within her. The Ichibi, Shukaku, had previously tried to interact with its host but fell silent the moment the Kyuubi was sealed within Naruko. This sudden change allowed the young girl, Gaara, to experience a peaceful rest for the first time in her life. Shukaku's tail illuminated, creating a warm glow inside the seal before the bijou quietly departed, leaving Gaara drained but safe. An hour later, in Kumagakure, a young blonde woman with bandages and long, flowing hair also experienced a similar event. The Nibi, Matatabi, who had developed a strong bond with her host, glowed and quietly departed. Before disappearing, Matatabi whispered words of encouragement. "Farewell, little one. Take care of yourself, and embrace the new journey ahead." The Anbu present quickly ensured the young woman's safety, carrying her to a place where she could recover from the sudden loss of energy. Across the world, similar events unfolded. Each bijou's tails illuminated before they gently departed from their hosts, leaving them temporarily exhausted. This sequence continued with the Sanbi, Isabu, leaving Kuratachi Yagura, the Inbi, Son Goku, departing Roshi, the Gobi, Kokuo, leaving Han, Seiken departing Utakata, Chome bidding a gentle farewell to Fu, and Yuki remaining close to Killer B, who was supported by his older sibling, A, the Yondaime Reikage. Yet, one bijou remained, the Kyuubi, Kurama. She observed quietly, recalling the words of her father. "One day, someone will come who will bring harmony to all of us. Be patient, and guide them wisely." Each bijou silently accepted this wisdom, even as they were drawn toward a single point within the newborn Naruko. One by one, they merged into her, forming a radiant bond of immense energy. Though they missed their previous hosts, they understood that this was part of life's natural rhythm. The Kyuubi stood and observed her family of bijou, their forms glowing brilliantly. Suddenly, their entire bodies radiated a pure white light, different from the usual glow of their tails. They were pulled together, enveloped in a brilliance so intense that even the largest villages would seem small in comparison. For a full hour, the light grew before settling. At last, the ancient seal, placed by the one who had first separated the bijou, had reawakened. The 9 bijou had returned to their original form, now residing harmoniously within Naruko. A deep, joyous laughter echoed from within her, followed by a resonant voice. "I am back. Let us see if the world is ready for what is to come." That day, Naruko became the bearer of the strongest being ever known, the 10-tailed beast, united within her. She held within herself not just the power of the bijou, but the potential to shape the world in ways never before imagined. A week had passed since the birth of one Uzumaki Naruko, and in that time, much had changed. Some events were still unknown to the wider world, while others had already become public knowledge. When the Kyuubi attacked Konoha, news spread quickly. Some neighboring villages considered taking advantage of Konoha's weakened state. Iwagakure, for instance, initially planned an attack, only to reconsider when both of their Jinchūriki suddenly fell into a deep, unexplained sleep. The plan had been to use their bijou holders to pressure Konoha, but now they were left uncertain. Unbeknownst to them, other major and minor villages were facing the same issue. Their Jinchūriki had also fallen into an unexpected slumber. Despite careful attempts to awaken them, nothing worked. This situation deeply concerned the cage, as they had temporarily lost a significant portion of their strength. Unable to identify any cause, no exhaustion, no illness, and no internal disturbances from the bijou themselves, they decided to observe patiently until their Jinchūriki would awaken naturally. A week later, each Jinchūriki gradually woke up, though the surrounding villages remained unaware of their recovery. Upon awakening, every Jinchūriki was immediately asked what had happened, yet none could provide an answer. They only noted a lingering sense of unexplained tiredness. Those who could enter their mindscapes discovered that their bijou were still in a deep sleep behind their seals. Despite efforts to awaken them, even the Hechibi, Nibi, Gobi, and Rakubi remained resting, which seemed unusual to their hosts. Once the cage learned of this, they chose to leave the matter alone, regarding it as an odd but harmless occurrence. As time passed and no other issues arose, the bijou holder's temporary slumber became a minor curiosity rather than a serious concern. The Ichibi's Jinchūriki, a young red-haired boy from Sunagakure, awoke surprisingly refreshed. His bijou had always been vigilant, keeping him alert and preventing proper rest. The sudden unconscious period had alarmed the entity inside him, though nothing harmful had occurred. Like the others, his bijou was also resting quietly. However, the holder of the kyubi, the young Uzumaki Naruko, remained fully awake throughout the entire event. The situation surrounding her was unique and remained unnoticed by anyone else. Konoha no Sato. While these events unfolded across the nations, a newly born red-haired baby in the village hidden in the leaves experienced her own set of challenges. Barely a few weeks old, Naruko had little ability to protect herself. Konoha remained in a state of heightened alert. The Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, had resumed his duties, though the news of the new Jinchūriki had spread quickly. Unfortunately, many villagers reacted with fear rather than understanding. To maintain order, Hiruzen issued a strict decree: anyone publicly discussing the kyubi or Naruko's status as its host would face immediate consequences. This ensured the safety of the young child while calming public unrest. With Naruko. Naruko, only 2 weeks old, was placed in an orphanage under careful supervision. Although some clan heads wished to claim her for their own advantage, the Hokage sent her to a neutral place to ensure her safety and impartial care. The caretakers, though initially reluctant, knew better than to ignore the cage's instructions. Naruko, meanwhile, slept frequently, her rest supported by the protective power of her bijou. Her chakra coils, still underdeveloped as a newborn, grew and strengthened even while she slept, guided and nurtured by the entity within her. The bijou carefully balanced the growth of her chakra, feeding it into her system, healing her, and ensuring she remained comfortable. Though unaware of the process, Naruko's body developed at an extraordinary pace, preparing her for the future. Meanwhile, in a distant cave, a group of mysterious individuals gathered. Some were holographic projections, while only 2 were fully present. All wore black cloaks adorned with red clouds. One of the leaders, wearing a mask with a single eye hole, revealed a Sharingan in her visible eye. She spoke with authority, directing her followers to share their findings. They discussed the status of Konoha, noting that although it had survived their previous schemes, a new kyubi Jinchūriki had appeared, Naruko, the daughter of the 4th Hokage. Plans were adjusted to accommodate the delay caused by her birth. They agreed to monitor the child carefully, gathering information without drawing attention, and preparing for future events while ensuring their secrecy remained intact. Kumagakure no Sato, 2 years later. What? A booming voice echoed through the tallest tower of Kumagakure no Sato. The man behind the desk had clearly jumped from his chair, leaving it toppled on the floor. The table before him was also damaged, evidence of his sudden frustration. The man, imposing in stature and dark-skinned, had a powerful build and blonde hair combed backward. A small, neatly kept blonde mustache and goatee completed his features. He wore a white haori over his bare torso, with golden vambraces adorning his wrists. This was the Yondaime Reikage of Kumagakure. What do you mean they're gone? How can that be possible? He demanded, addressing the 2 people standing before him. One was a man with similar features to the Reikage, sporting oval sunglasses, a white Hitai-8, a single strap flak jacket, and 7 swords on his back, a skilled kenjutsu expert. The second was a woman with long, straight blonde hair wrapped in neat bandages, her dark eyes framed with subtle makeup. She wore a black and purple short-sleeved blouse, black pants decorated with cloud patterns, purple fingerless gloves, and standard shinobi sandals. A kunai holster was strapped to her right thigh. This was Ni Yugito. Yugito, tell me immediately what happened. How could both of your bijou simply vanish? The Reikage demanded, clearly unsettled by their previous report. Yugito bowed respectfully before responding. As we reported, Reikage-sama, I don't know what occurred. This morning, I attempted to communicate with the Nibi, but she was gone, along with my seal. I have no explanation. She continued, her gaze briefly meeting the man beside her. If she had been removed while I slept, I should not be here. Yet, both B-sama and I remain. Over the past years, as we reported, I've been unable to access the Nibi's chakra, just as B-sama has struggled with the Hachibi. Our energy has diminished significantly as well. Killer B and Ni Yugito had been reporting on their bijou for 2 years. Now, both had vanished without trace, their seals gone, a phenomenon considered impossible. The Reikage rubbed his forehead in concern. This is a serious situation. Losing the Nibi and Hachibi so suddenly is alarming. We must investigate quietly. No one outside this room should be informed. Is that clear? Both Killer Bee and Yugito nodded. Unnoticed, a plant-like figure observed from the shadows before melting into the ground, silently pondering the mystery. The same strange event had been occurring across all the elemental nations. Each village with a Jinchūriki found that their bijou had disappeared, leaving no explanation. Even in Sunagakure, the youngest red-haired Jinchūriki found her companion unresponsive, though she could enter her mindscape and confirm the absence. Iwagakure, Takigakure, and Kirigakure experienced similar occurrences simultaneously, though no one outside the villages realized what had transpired. Zetsu had monitored Kumagakure due to Killer Bee's control over the Hachibi before he fell into a deep sleep. Konoha remained unaware. Their Jinchūriki, the youngest among all villages, had no knowledge of her powers, unaware of the dramatic events unfolding in the world. 2 months later, news of the bijou disappearances began to circulate, shared carefully by each cage to prevent panic and avoid opportunistic attacks. When all the leaders compared notes, it became clear that this was a global phenomenon. It appears that it wasn't just our Jinchūriki who lost their bijou, the Reikage announced during a council meeting. Taki, Suna, Kiri, and Iwa have all experienced the same. An elder of Kumagakure asked, "What about Konoha? Did their Jinchūriki also lose the Kyubi?" "At this time, we cannot confirm," the Reikage replied. "We must assume it, given the pattern across all villages." Once each village had concluded its council discussions, the Kages decided to inform their people. While the loss of power was significant, it was important that the former Jinchūriki were treated with respect and understanding rather than fear. Over time, the villagers gradually accepted their former heroes with kindness. However, Konoha presented a unique challenge, as their people remained unaware of the situation, and the young Naruko continued to navigate a world that did not yet recognize her significance. Konohagakure no Sato, council meeting. "What do you mean that all the bijou are gone, Hokage-sama?" asked one of the elders, an elderly woman named Koharu. She, along with everyone else present at the council meeting, had just heard from their leader that all the bijou had disappeared. The Hokage had only received the news minutes earlier when one of his former students and current spymaster of Konoha reported the findings. The white-haired man, Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sannin, had learned of events unfolding across the elemental nations and immediately set out to inform the Kage. That report had led to the current meeting, as Konoha had been unaware of what had been happening in other villages until now. The delay in communication was partly due to Naruko's age. The 2-year-old could barely speak, let alone report events she had no knowledge of. "Just as I said, Koharu. Kumagakure, Iwagakure, and every village with a Jinchūriki have reported that their bijou have simply disappeared. According to Jiraiya, this happened months ago, and the news only recently reached their top shinobi," the Sandaime Hokage explained, his voice calm but firm. "And what about our Jinchūriki? Have we lost our connection as well?" asked another elder, a man whose right side was wrapped in protective bandages. Hiruzen's expression tightened at the phrasing, though he remained composed. "We will find out shortly, Danzo. I have sent Jiraiya to see young Naruko before the meeting began." Danzo simply nodded, and soon the doors opened. All eyes turned toward the entrance as Jiraiya entered and approached the Hokage. He whispered something briefly, prompting a slight, almost imperceptible widening of Hiruzen's eyes. After a nod, Jiraiya stepped back to stand behind the Hokage. Sighing, Hiruzen addressed the council. "It seems that we are also now without a Jinchūriki. The Kyubi has vanished just like the other bijou. The seal on Naruko is gone, and there is no trace of its presence." A civilian council member spoke up hesitantly, "Does that mean the creature is gone?" Hiruzen did not answer immediately. Instead, he made clear that respect and order must be maintained. "Remember your place in this village and whom you answer to," he said firmly, his tone controlled but unwavering, reinforced by Jiraiya's presence behind him. "Inform the villagers of this news carefully. Ensure that the truth is conveyed accurately, or you will be held responsible," Hiruzen instructed before adjourning the meeting. As the council dispersed, Danzo lingered briefly, thoughts racing. How could this have happened? Our prodigy is now unbound. Though he thought of Naruko's potential, many others were equally puzzled, albeit without considering her as a tool. Word of the bijou's disappearance spread slowly. While other villages ex-Jinchūriki experienced relief and joy, Naruko faced confusion. Many misunderstood the news, believing Naruko to still carry the Kyubi's presence. "Why isn't the creature gone? I saw it just yesterday," they murmured, misinterpreting her situation. Hiruzen anticipated such misunderstandings. He resolved to uphold his laws to protect Naruko, trusting that over time, the villagers would understand the truth. The bijou was gone, and Naruko was simply herself. Unknown location. In a dark cavern, numerous holographic figures formed a circle as an urgent meeting convened. The figures flickered, semi-transparent. "Zetsu, why was this meeting called in such urgency?" asked one figure, long hair obscured by the hologram's glow. "We have critical news," Zetsu replied. "All the bijou appear to have disappeared without trace. I have verified this myself, their previous hosts show no remaining signs. We must continue our search, though it is unclear where to start, as the hosts are still present." The announcement caused visible shock. "What? How can this be possible?" exclaimed a masked figure with a Sharingan, disbelief in her voice. Zetsu remained calm, waiting for the others to compose themselves. "This changes many plans. We must locate them immediately. Explore all regions if necessary. The bijou cannot simply vanish." With the orders given, the holograms dissipated, leaving the dark cavern once more in stillness. Dear YouTube family, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps the adventure going. With gratitude. Anime Octopus.